Drake has been officially ordered to testify in the ongoing murder trial of XXX Tentacion, and he's now firing back at claims he ordered X's murder.
I used to live by the mantra, like, it's business, not personal, but it's definitely personal.
The murder trial of the late rapper XXX Tentacion recently took a shocking turn after a defense attorney suggested that Drake is linked to the killing.
Before X died, he said, if anybody kills me, it's Drake. And do you think that for one moment, here today, days after the event, he's killed by two masked men, right? He came out on social media and said, guys, before he dies, if anybody kills me, it's Drake. Do you think in that time span that they went and they addressed him, they talked to him?
The news has left the Twitterverse divided, and while some fans are saying the defense is using Drake to take the attention off their clients, others are convinced Drake is somehow involved. But how exactly is Drake connected to X's murder case? And how did Drake react to being ordered to testify in court? Let's break it down.
You know, you're either the villain to some people or a hero to some people.
Drake has been named as a possible suspect in the murder of XXX Tentacion by one of the defense attorneys in the ongoing trial of 3 men accused of robbing and killing X. While Drake and X were involved in a highly publicized beef before X died, until now, most fans were highly skeptical of the allegations that Drake actually ordered X's murder. But now that the judge has officially ordered Drake to testify, fans are saying maybe there is some connection between Drake and X's murder.
After that, there's been a hell of lyrics that Drake's been putting out that kinda sound like he talking directly about X. Drake said he gonna break a 10, aka X, and he said if he held his tongue on his live, he'll be alive again.
Drake himself is now firing back at these claims, but let's go over some context first so you can understand what happened so far in the trial. The late Florida rapper XXX Tentacion was murdered on June 18, 2018, during an apparent attempted robbery outside Riva Motorsports in Deerfield Beach, Florida.
Deerfield Beach, the rapper XXX Tentacion has been shot, apparently targeted while shopping for a motorcycle. Chopper 4 was over the scene on North Dixie Highway near Sample Road. The Broward Sheriff's Office says they got a call about the shooting at around 4 p.m. They say the rapper was transported to an area hospital where the sheriff's office says he died.
Earlier that day, X went to Bank of America to withdraw money, and after leaving the bank, he was followed by an SUV allegedly containing 4 men: Dedrick Williams, Robert Allen, Michael Boatwright, and Trayvon Newsome. According to the authorities, after Williams noticed X's car, he called the other suspects. He told them to go into the motorcycle dealership to confirm that it was actually X. X arrived at the dealership at around 3:30 p.m. with his uncle, and security camera footage showed suspects Robert Allen and Dedrick Williams following X inside the store.
Surveillance video also showed XXX inside the dealership that day when at least one of the suspects walked past him. A short time later, the drama unfolded outside.
About half an hour later, X left the dealership, and as he began to drive away in his BMW, he was blocked by an SUV. Newsome and Boatwright are alleged to have exited the SUV and approached X demanding money. Newsome reportedly took X's Louis Vuitton bag, and Boatwright is alleged to have taken his chain. During the struggle, X's uncles fled the car, and at one point, Newsome ran back to the SUV. But despite the robbery being over, Boatwright took a step back and fired 6 shots at X, hitting him in the neck.
Surveillance cameras captured the ambush of rapper XXX Tentacion as he prepared to leave a Deerfield Beach motorcycle dealership last June. The cameras show a vehicle block the rapper's exit, and then men jump out of the vehicle and confront XXX Tentacion. One of the men goes into his car. Then there's a confrontation and a robbery, and the men shoot and kill the talented young artist.
X was rushed to a nearby hospital, and while the paramedics were able to briefly revive his pulse, the injuries were too severe. At 5:40 p.m., XXX Tentacion was pronounced dead. He was 20 years old. Over the next 2 months, the police arrested 4 suspects in connection with the murder, and all 4 men were charged with first-degree murder. Michael Boatwright, Trayvon Newsome, and Dedrick Williams pleaded not guilty, while Robert Allen pleaded guilty to a lesser conviction in exchange for testifying against the other 3.
Robert Allen pleaded guilty. He will testify against his co-defendants. He is still looking at a possible life sentence, but hopes for less time. Surveillance video showed Allen outside of the motorcycle dealership on Dixie Highway in Deerfield.
The trial started on February 7, 2023, and the lead prosecutor for the state said in her opening statement that the prosecution has surveillance video and other evidence to prove the 3 defendants shot and killed X.
You'll hear from witnesses that the defendant spoke to before during and after the homicide. You will also hear from law enforcement officers, several detectives and crime scenes that investigated this case. You'll get to see the evidence that was collected. You'll hear from the associate medical examiner who performed the autopsy in this case and will give you the determination that the victim died by way of homicide and the cause of death.
However, Michael Boatwright's attorney claimed in his opening statement that Boatwright had been falsely accused, and he also alleged that Broward County authorities rushed the investigation. Newsom's defense attorney made similar claims and insisted that his client wasn't there on the day of the murder. As for Robert Allen, the fourth suspect who agreed to testify against the other three, he confirmed the prosecution's account that X's robbery and murder were planned, and he named Dedrick Williams as the main planner.
June 18th, 2018, I'm talking about the day before, where there was some type of agreement or plan, however you want to refer to it, to rent a vehicle. Do you recall that? Yes. Okay, so tell us about that. Whose idea was it to rent the vehicle? You have to speak up nice and loud.
Dietrich.
Okay, so it was Dietrich's idea to rent the vehicle. Why?
And it was the attorney for Dedrick Williams who made the most shocking allegations so far in the trial, claiming that authorities didn't properly investigate the possibility that Drake is connected to X's murder.
So you ask yourself, how could that be? If any of us is involved in, God forbid, in a murder, and you say, hey, it's so-and-so, you better believe so-and-so is going to get investigated. But in this case, they didn't do it. They didn't do it because it didn't comport with their version.
Padilla stated that he tried to subpoena Drake for a deposition before the trial began, but Drake failed to show up for the deposition. Because of this, Padilla petitioned the court for an order to show cause, and the judge has now officially granted his order. But where did these allegations against Drake even come from? And how did Drake react to the court-ordered deposition? Allegations of Drake's ties to X's murder stem from Drake's feud with X, which started after X accused Drake of copying parts of his song, Look at Me, for the track KMT, which Drake first premiered during his concert in Amsterdam in January 2017. In February 2017, X spoke to XXX magazine and said he would have preferred if Drake had given him some credit. X was in jail at the time on 6 felony charges, including DV, and he believed that Drake could have helped him out if he gave him some type of acknowledgement. He could have reached out to me personally and spoken to me, and it definitely would have been more respectable, X said. But he dropped that preview, and it sounded a bit like Look at Me, and he could be a huge, huge help in this situation to get me out of jail because I'm facing life. But despite X claiming he wasn't mad at Drake, things quickly escalated, and after X was released from jail, he called out Drake in a radio interview.
So you in jail, he's supposed to contact your manager, and then what happened?
He dropped the video, a preview in Amsterdam with some from the UK. You know what I'm saying? He dropped the video. I was talking to my girl at the time, not the same that got me arrested, a different girl.
Okay.
I was talking to her at the time, and she was like, "Yo, listen to." No, actually, it was my dog Chris. I was on the phone with my dog Chris. He was like, "Yo, you gotta listen to this Drake of." That's exactly what he said. Like, this nigga Drake, you gotta listen to this. So he plays this. I hear da 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 my dad. I'm like, what the? As soon as it started, like I knew he was getting that. And the funny thing is, we didn't discover it. The fan, like you said, the fans, because they're so cold. Like it's like I got a piece of the internet. You feel me?
So they were saying that Drake was biting your style. That's what the fans were saying.
Yeah. Flow, hell yeah, bro. You could take his verse. Like they did a mashup. They put his verse on my song, and the cadence is literally just at the same tempo. It's not offbeat at all.
So now where do you guys stand? Like, what's good now?
I still think Drake.
No,
I'm keeping a blood raw. I still think Drake. Like I think he's not a man. I think that's a move.
X also started trolling Drake on Twitter and photoshopped his face into Drake's family photo. In another Twitter post, X went after Drake's mom, writing, "Drake's mom kinda cute, she could get it." In May 2017, Drake's younger cousin shared photos on her Instagram, revealing that Drake escorted her and her date to their high school prom in Memphis. X then again trolled Drake by sharing photos of himself taking one of his female relatives to the prom, and shortly after, he dissed Drake and his label OVO in an explosive Instagram live.
always counterattack. I don't initiate things. I always counterattack. Just like in this situation, no matter what anybody says, I didn't initiate shit. This nigga ran off of my everybody knew he ran off of my and they just trying to tell me to basically be quiet. Bruh, nobody's gonna openly disrespect the out of me and disrespect my craft when I'm 19 years old. That motherfucker, what is he, like 60? Like 65? Or isn't he? Didn't he get like surgery on his arms or some shit? Didn't he get like plastic surgery? Didn't you go see like Dr. 300 like 3 times? But what the you think I'm gonna let you take my shit and not say nothing? You can suck my the whole team can suck my dick. OVO.
At this point, Drake still hadn't addressed the beef in public, and it seemed like he had decided to take the high road. However, some fans now think that Drake may have threatened X, because in February 2018, X shared an Instagram story saying, "If anyone tries to kill me, it was Drake. I'm snitching right now." X later claimed his account was hacked. However, one of the attorneys for the defense in the ongoing trial actually mentioned X's Instagram story about Drake trying to kill him, and alleged that the authorities never properly investigated Drake's connection to X's murder.
Before X died, he said, "If anybody kills me, it's Drake." And do you think that for one moment, here today, days after the event, he's killed by 2 masked men, right? He came out on social media and said, "Guys, before he dies, if anybody kills me, it's Drake." Do you think in that time span that they went and they addressed him, they talked to him? No. Do you think sitting here today, years later, any detective has ever asked, Drake or anybody like that? No. They never did that.
X's fans also believe that Drake's song I'm Upset, which was released just 1 month before X was killed, contains references to X's murder plot, specifically the line XSMS, XXX, that's the only time I shoot below the neck. Following X's death, Drake released the track Mob Ties, where he raps, "Louis bags in exchange for body bags," which could also be a reference to what happened to X. And then, on his recently released joint album with 21 Savage, Her Loss, Drake seemingly made yet another reference to his beef with X. The track titled On BS features the lyrics, "Maybe I should break that 20, do a 10. If he held his tongue on that live, he'd be alive again." A lot of fans pointed out that the number 10 in Roman numerals is the letter X, and since Drake said it 3 times, it could be a reference to XXX Tentacion, especially since the following line suggests that Drake got revenge on someone who dissed him on Instagram Live. To be clear, Drake is not on trial for X's murder. However, the judge has ordered Drake to testify via Zoom on February 24th. According to court documents obtained by TMZ, if Drake misses that date, he has to show up in court in person on February 27th. And if Drake fails to appear again, he could be charged with contempt of the court. As for Drake's reaction to the court order, sources close to Drake are claiming Drake's unbothered because he knows he had nothing to do with X's murder. Drake's fans feel the same way, and they're saying it's obvious the attorney who requested Drake's deposition is grasping at straws and trying to take away attention from the suspects he's defending. One fan tweeted, "Drake did not hire 4 random bums from Florida to murder XXX Tentacion. If he did, why haven't they snitched on Drake? The snitch says they were looking for anyone to rob. This is a tactic by Dedrick's lawyer to take the attention off his client. Media is brainwashing kids." However, there are also a lot of fans who are holding their judgment until the trial's over, and some of them are saying it's entirely possible Drake was involved in X's murder. "X told us, and I don't put anything past anyone in the industry," one fan tweeted. "In plain sight, as they say, SMS XXX, that's the only time I shoot below the neck. What is that even supposed to mean? RIP XXX. But let's hear your opinions on this. Do you think Drake really had something to do with X's murder? Leave your comments down below, and don't forget to click on this next video.